Welcome to Module 1, Lesson 18, Finding a Rate by Dividing Two Quantities. So after today's lesson, I would like you to be able to interpret a rate as the division of two quantities, or a fraction. I'd also like you to use the interpretation of a rate as division to solve word problems when multiplying a rate by a quantity. So basically what we want you to be able to do is we want you to be able to interpret the rate as a division problem. So see that a rate is the same thing as a division problem, and also to use the fact that it's a division problem to help you solve other real world problems. All right, so to start off, we have this modeling exercise. At Fun Burger, the burger master can make hamburgers at a rate of 4 burgers per minute. In order to address the heavy volume of customers, he needs to continue at this rate for 30 minutes. If he continues to make hamburgers at this pace, how many burgers will the burger master make in 30 minutes? All right, so let's look for the important information here. So it doesn't matter that it's at Fun Burger, but it does matter that it's at a rate of 4 burgers per minute. Okay, and in order to address the heavy volume, he needs to continue at this rate for 30 minutes. So continue at this rate for 30 minutes. And then the question, if he continues to make hamburgers at this pace, so that's important that he stays at that pace, how many burgers will the burger master make in 30 minutes? So some important words here are keywords. How many burgers? So we know our answer should be in burgers, and it should be number of burgers. Okay, and important words or important numbers, 30 minutes. Now I don't need both 30 minutes, okay, because if it says he continues at the pace and we want to know how many he'll make in 30 minutes, here it's just showing us twice that in order to address the volume of customers, he has to continue the pace for 30 minutes. So they want to know in that same 30 minutes how many burgers he'll make. Here it's important that the rate is 4 burgers, so that 4 is important, and the fact that it's burgers per minute is important. All right, so to solve this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of if I know the speed or the rate at which he can make burgers, and I know how long it's going or how long he has to cook them for, I can use those pieces of information to help me out. So if I look at it this way, so he can make 4 burgers per minute. So if I were to sit down and make a tape diagram or make a table, and we'll just quickly make a table here. You do not need to do this in your notes. I just want to show you what we're looking at here. So we have our table, and we have burgers, and we have minutes. So here we have 4 burgers in 1 minute. So if I double my time, I should double my burgers. So my rate can help me out because I know that if I make 4 burgers, it's taking me 1 minute. Well, if I make 8 burgers, it's going to take me 2 minutes. So we've done a lot with, well, how do I go from one to the other? And since I know I have 30 minutes, I want to look at my equation. So I know that I have a rate of 4 burgers per minute. And the reason I write it like this is to help us with our labels. If I take my rate and multiply it by the amount of time that I have, I can figure out how many burgers I make, because I'm saying I make 4 burgers in a minute, and then if I know my number of minutes, that'll tell me in each of those minutes, and I add it all together, how much that'll be. So it's kind of like this. So in the first minute, he'll make 4. If I do another minute, he'll make another 4. In another minute, another 4. Well, instead of doing this, I can set it up as multiplication, because I would be doing repeated addition. I would be taking each of those 4 burgers that he made in each of the minutes and adding them together. So instead of doing the repeated addition, we use multiplication. Since there's 30 minutes, then there would be 30 of these 4s to add together. So we're taking the 4 burgers per minute, our rate times our amount of time, to get our answer. Okay, so since I know in 1 minute I make 4, I know my answer should be larger because I have 30 minutes. So I do my 4 times 3 is 12. I have the extra 0, so I add it to the end. Now, here, if you look at 30 as a fraction, it's like 30 over 1. So these two labels cancel each other out, so I'm left with 120 burgers. So I should have written my sentence before, but I forgot. So my sentence would have looked something like this. In 30 minutes, the burger master can make blank hamburgers. Okay, and then now I know from my answer that he can make 120 burgers. Okay, so again, I take my rate, since I know how fast he can make the burgers and I know how long he has to make the burgers for, I can use that to figure out how many burgers he made total. Alright, so here we have Chandra, who's an editor at the New York Gazette. Her job is to read each article before it is printed in the newspaper. If Chandra can read 10 words per second, how many words can she read in 60 seconds? So again, let's highlight the important information. Okay, her being an editor isn't important. Her job is to read each article before it's printed in the newspaper, not important. The fact that she can read 10 words per second is important. And how many words can she read in 60 seconds is important because that's our question. How many words is important because it tells us our answer should be number of words. 60 is an important number because we know that that's the amount of time that she has to read. And the fact that it's seconds is important because that's our label. And we want to make sure that these labels here match up with our label of our rate, which is the case, so we don't have to do any converting. And it's important that it's 10 words per second. So this is where looking at a rate as a division problem comes in handy because I know, so again, I want to know how many she can read in 60 seconds. So I could sit here and say, okay, in 1 second she would read 10 words. That'd be the first second. And then in the second she would read another 10 words. And then in 3 seconds she would read another 10 words. And then to find the total, I would have to add them all together. So instead of doing this, we use a multiplication problem. Okay, so again, so it's kind of like saying this is a second, and in this second she read 10 words. In this one, she read another 10, and another 10, and another 10. Okay, so if each box equals 1 second, we know that we'd end up taking all of these and adding them together, so we're turning it into multiplication instead. So I take my rate and write it as a division problem. So 10 words divided by 1 second. Times, well, she has 60 seconds. And that's going to give me my answer. So in this case, I know that because what's on top can eliminate what's below. So if I have the same thing on top and on bottom in two separate parts, I can eliminate them. So I can eliminate my label of seconds. I know that 10 times 60 is 600. And I know my label is words. So again, from the problem, I know that my answer should be number of words in 60 seconds. So Chandra can read blank words in 60 seconds. And then from my work, I know that the answer is that she can read 600 words in 60 seconds. We're going to be doing more work with this in class, so if you're struggling with it, I would definitely suggest taking a minute to rewrite the problems and try and solve them on your own. And if you have questions, make sure to write them down so we can go over them in class.